Keyword density, best practices for optimization. Keyword density today, a guardrail, not a goal. Keyword density used to be treated like a dial you could turn to unlock rankings. In modern SEO, it works more like a guardrail. It helps you avoid underusing the language buyers search, and it prevents over-optimization that ruins readability. For B2B teams, the point isn't to hit a magic percentage, it's to earn qualified clicks and turn them into conversations. We still see teams argue about whether they need exactly 2.5% density or whether it doesn't matter anymore. The truth is simpler. Google doesn't reward rigid keyword repetition, but it does reward pages that clearly match search intent and cover the topic well. Density helps you sanity check whether your copy actually signals what the page is about. In this guide, we'll show how to use density, placement, and semantic coverage together, especially on revenue pages that target terms like cold calling services, SDR agency, or sales outsourcing. When your on-page fundamentals are solid, your content becomes easier to discover, easier to trust, and easier to convert. Why keyword usage still impacts pipeline in B2B. SEO is now a default growth channel in B2B, not a nice-to-have. Around 49% of B2B companies use SEO as a core marketing tactic, which means your competitors are actively trying to own the same search results your buyers rely on. If your pages don't clearly align to the terms prospects search, you'll lose visibility before you ever get a shot at the meeting. Buyer behavior makes this even more direct. 66% of B2B buyers use internet search results to find information before purchasing. That's why keyword choices and on-page relevance aren't marketing metrics, they're inputs to pipeline. If the language on your solutions page doesn't match what a VP is typing into Google, your SDRs end up doing more cold outreach to compensate. Search is also where most trackable demand lives. Organic search drives about 53% of trackable website traffic overall, and for B2B sites, organic plus paid search can drive roughly 76%. Small improvements in relevance, often achieved through better keyword placement and cleaner copy, can materially increase the number of qualified visitors entering your funnel. What keyword density is and the practical range that works. Keyword density is simply the percentage of times a keyword appears compared to the total word count on a page. If a 1,000-word page uses a target phrase 15 times, that's about 1.5% density. It's easy to calculate, but the better way to use it is as a quick diagnostic after the draft is written. There is no official perfect density from Google, but tooling and practitioner guidance gives a practical band to stay natural. A widely cited recommendation is keeping key phrase density between 0.5 to 3%, with 1 to 2% acting as a comfortable sweet spot for most B2B pages. If you're outside that range, it's not an automatic problem. It's a prompt to ask whether the content is unclear, too low, or repetitive, too high. The key nuance is that density is about how often, while relevance is heavily influenced by where. You can repeat B2B cold calling services dozens of times, but if it's buried in boilerplate or awkward blocks of text, it won't read credibly to an enterprise buyer. In practice, strategic placement beats squeezing one more exact match mention into every paragraph. Placement framework, where keywords matter most on revenue pages. For solution pages, vertical pages, and money pages, pricing, comparison, services, we recommend prioritizing high-impact placements first. If you're optimizing a page for cold calling agency or outbound sales agency, you'll typically get more lift from putting the phrase in the title, H1, and opening lines than from repeating it throughout the body. This keeps the copy tight for busy decision makers while still signaling topic focus. A helpful workflow is Write the page for humans first, outcomes, objections, proof. Then apply a placement checklist, then run a quick density check as a final pass. This approach prevents the most common B2B failure mode, content that technically includes the keyword but doesn't read like it understands the buyer's problem. It also reduces the risk of keyword stuffing, which can hurt trust and engagement even when rankings don't immediately drop. Use this table as a practical benchmark for the placements that consistently matter for discoverability and for buyer scanning behavior. Use keyword density as a sanity check, then spend your real effort on intent match, depth, and conversion paths. Semantic variance and long-form content, the safer way to signal relevance. Modern search rewards topical depth, not mechanical repetition. That's why semantic variance and related phrases are so effective. They let you cover the same intent without forcing the exact match keyword into every sentence. On a page targeting sales outsourcing, for example, it's natural to also mention outsourced sales team, sales development agency, B2B sales outsourcing, and hire SDRs when those concepts genuinely apply. Long-form content also creates more natural surface area for keywords. Research cited by SEO industry studies shows content over 3,000 words can earn about 3x more traffic and 3.5x more backlinks than average length posts. That extra depth gives you room to answer real buyer questions, include use cases, and incorporate variants without sounding repetitive. This is where density becomes truly useful. It helps you avoid two extremes. If the term never appears, your page may feel generic. If it appears constantly, the copy gets stiff and conversion drops. A natural 1 to 2% density for the primary phrase, plus rich semantic coverage, is typically a strong balance for B2B pages that need to rank and persuade. Common mistakes that sabotage rankings and conversions. The most common mistake is treating an exact percentage as the main SEO goal. Chasing a number often produces robotic writing that hurts clarity, increases bounce rate, and wastes time you should spend improving the offer, proof points, and user experience. If you have to force the keyword, you're usually better off rewriting the sentence to say something more useful to the buyer. Another common issue is hiding repetition in low-value areas, footers, boilerplate, or awkward blocks of text that no one reads. Beyond the spam risk, this signals a weak brand to enterprise buyers who expect crisp positioning. If you're optimizing for terms like cold email agency or cold calling companies, the safest path is to keep boilerplate lean and let the main body do the work through natural mentions and clear examples. Keyword cannibalization is the quieter problem that shows up later as "we're stuck." When multiple pages target the same primary keyword, Google has to guess which one to rank, often splitting authority and weakening results. The fix is ownership. Assign one primary keyword to one primary page, then interlink related pages so each has a distinct role in the buyer journey. How to audit and improve keyword distribution without over-optimizing. Start with the pages that already drive revenue, your highest converting solutions pages, pricing page, and top lead-generating blog posts. Check whether the primary keyword appears in the key placements, title, URL, H1, early copy, and at least one H2. Then confirm the overall density sits in a readable band like 0.5 to 3%. If the copy sounds repetitive when read aloud, trim exact matches and replace a few with pronouns or close variants. Next, benchmark against what Google already trusts. Search your primary term, open the top results, and sanity check how long the content is and how the keyword is used in headings and openings. This is faster and more grounded than guessing a target density in a vacuum, and it often reveals that leaders win by being clearer and more complete, not by repeating a phrase more times. Finally, remember why this work pays off. Clicks compound at the top of the SERP. The first organic result can capture around 45.44% of clicks, and moving up a single position can increase click-through rate by roughly 32.3%. That's why small improvements, cleaner intent match, better placement, and tighter copy can translate into noticeably more inbound opportunities. Turning SEO language into meetings. Align content with SDR messaging. Keyword strategy works best when it mirrors real buyer language, and your SDR team is one of the richest sources of that language. The phrases prospects use on calls and in replies often become your best long-tail targets and the best on-page copy. If prospects consistently ask about pay-per-appointment lead generation or B2B cold calling, those terms belong in your content where they fit naturally, not buried in a keyword list. This alignment also sharpens conversion paths. Content marketing can generate over 3x as many leads as traditional marketing, while costing 62% less, but only if the traffic is relevant and the page actually persuades. When your SEO pages speak the same language as your outbound sales agency scripts and follow-ups, visitors recognize themselves in the copy, and they're more likely to book time. At SalesHive, we think of this as search-to-sales continuity. If your site targets terms like SDR agencies, sales outsourcing, or cold call services, your outreach should echo that same positioning so the experience feels consistent from Google to meeting. That's also why brands often evaluate vendors by checking sources like SalesHive reviews, SalesHive pricing, or SalesHive.com. Your messaging needs to hold together across content, calls, and follow-up.